Hi, everyone. Good morning from Vienna. My name is Adela Mejanic. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. Today, I have very special guest joining us from South Africa. The city I forgot, but Hlulani will be able to tell us exact city where she's joining us, and it's a great pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking the time from that far distance and joining us and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me. I'm currently in Pretoria.
Pretoria. Oh, beautiful. And the picture behind you is from Austria, right?
Yes, this is from Austria. We went hiking. It was actually my first hike. It was beautiful, amazing.
Yes. It's a beautiful city. And my picture is from the Stephansplatz. So it's from the city center. So it's
yes. I could actually identify this. Like, this place looks so familiar, but I couldn't really tell.
Yes, I saw that picture. My friend had it last week during our interview, and I loved it. So I saw the picture. I said, I want to have it, and then she was sending me basically. So I it fits somehow, Austria, making it in Austria, and then the picture behind us. Lulani, I would like to invite you. So you have a very impressive CV. So you have an impressive CV. You are a woman in tech. You care about your community. You're building up the communities all around the world. I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience in your own words.
Okay. Well, as you've already mentioned, Adela, thank you so much for having me. My name is Hlulani Baloyi. From South Africa, Pretoria, as already mentioned. So who I am, I started off my career earlier on in 2014, but just like maybe go top down. Currently work for a BOC group in Austria. I've just recently moved, work as a solution engineer. Before that, I was working for consulting. So I worked for Mckinsey for like 3 + 6 years as a consultant, which is mostly like doing development work and implementation. And that was really amazing because I actually got to have a wider range of experiences from banking to insurance to different places. It was really amazing. Before Mckinsey, I worked for IBM as a strategy consultant. Then it's also another word to just identify a software developer. That as well, I spent 2 years working there. But I think the most exciting part of my career is how I started off. So I started off my career at Geekulcha. So there's a startup company, the company was still a startup company. It's called Geekulcha, which is more like a gap between the students and or rather the young professionals with the corporate space. So having to be in that kind of space where young people are being exposed to different opportunities that are available within the tech space, I got to really identify how we don't have a lot of young women, or rather women in general, within the space. So I couldn't identify with a lot of techies who were within the space. And that got me to sort of go around and figure out what could be the issue. Is the issue the fact that people are just not attending this event, or we just don't have women within the space in general? In my process of actually trying to figure that out, I bumped into different organizations because I just I was locating different organizations that are literally women oriented when it comes to tech. And I bumped into Girl Rising. Girl Rising is an a global, I don't know if you know about Girl Rising, but they're a global organization that is mostly focused on evangelizing girls' education. Mm-hmm. And what they do is that they tell you that identify your community and figure out what education means in that community. Mm-hmm. How would you want to tackle and introduce and run the educational space within your community? And that's when I actually then became an ambassador. And in my space, I told myself that I was going to be a space where, I was going to create a space where we have young women. So at first we called it Girls in Tech. So we're going to have a lot of young women who are within like your university spaces to actually come. And then also like the vision was to be in a sustainability
Mm-hmm.
level. So we wanted to sustain this woman, because what I was saying was that, okay, so when I went to school, there were a lot of women who actually were in my varsity, but then somehow when we transitioned and went up and started working, there was sort of like, it's sort of as though there's like a transition. You don't know where they actually fell off and what's the story. So for me, it was really important to have that sustainability level. We then, with like few of my friends, will continue to run an organization called Relocating. So Relocating is like it's on a name in South Africa. It's called We Are Doing It Ourselves. So it was to say, as girls, we're doing it ourselves. I then also joined in Black Girls Code, which is another global organization founded in the US. And what Black Girls Code does is introduce girls from 7 to 17 into coding and STEM careers, so science, engineering, tech, and all the mathematics and all the like the technical subjects. So what we do from a Johannesburg chapter point of view, I'm currently a chairperson for the chapter, and what we do is we get girls. So we've adopted like a group of girls and have them be in a position of like being introduced to technology, also like the tech careers, because that's what we know. So it's the three of us, and we both from a technical tech IT background. So that's what we do with the girls. Apart from working with the girls, I also am part of Xitsonga.org, so Xitsonga Language Foundation. So this foundation, well, one of the things that is exciting for me is that this year we actually got to be awarded with like best educational platform. So Xitsonga Language Foundation is a dictionary platform that we've created. We digitized our like Xitsonga. Xitsonga is one of the South African languages. So I don't know if you know, South Africa has like 11 official languages, and all of them are like widely used on a daily basis. But then, as you can imagine, there's those languages that would then be minority. Mine is a minority, so that's what we actually like. We actually came up with an idea that, okay, cool, we are gonna digitize. I joined in while the organization was already functional, but like continuing with the vision of digitizing the content and making sure that the language does not die out, because I think for us, more than anything, language is some sort of like a recognition that I recognize who I am and I recognize my identity. And I would also love people to recognize who I am from a language point of view. Oh, that was long. I don't know if I'm missing anything.
I'm enjoying that. I'm listening. It's like,
I honestly don't know if I'm missing anything, but generally I if you were to ask me to introduce myself in like three words, it would be Hlulani, who is a coder, traveler, and an African. I love embracing myself as an African. I love traveling and I love coding. So yeah.
Wonderful. So you mentioned yourself as you mentioned that building up the community is one of your passion, sharing the knowledge, empowering others, mentoring. So you're doing that, all of that still, right? So you're very active in your community. So how do you find time for all of that?
I mean, so for me, when it comes to things like this, okay, maybe I'll take you back to why I actually started doing all the community work that I do. I think generally through the organization that I told you about, Geekulcha, the one that I started my career from, I felt like I received a lot of support from the community. There were a lot of people who actually were ready to help me and make sure that I actually grow within the space. I'll give an example with when we started off with Girls in ICT. There was a lady, her name is Tudi. She found out that I was working with Girl Rising, and in her finding out that I was working with Girl Rising, she was like, you actually need to start working with Intel. Intel has to work with you because somehow they also support Girl Rising. So I don't see a need. I mean, I don't see why they shouldn't be working with you. And in that process of her using her influence, I got to actually work with ambassador for Intel for their She Will Connect initiative. That is community for me. If there was no one who actually was not in a position to be some sort of act as a big sister or a mentor, I wouldn't have gotten to that platform. So it's very important for me to sort of really share the knowledge that I have already, and also plug whoever I can plug with someone who already has the knowledge. So if I don't have the knowledge, someone in my community already do have that kind of knowledge. So that is very important for me. And in terms of how or where I find time, I think it's more really sort of figuring out balance on what really matters to me, and how I can actually sump it into my day. So even if it's an hour a day to offering my time to a student who needs help, or offering my time to planning a meetup with the team at Black Girls Code, it's actually I think it's really an intentional kind of allocation of time, because otherwise I don't think we have time generally, because it's such a busy world. But somehow intentionally, if you want to see something, or you want to see some sort of change in a certain way, you will definitely find time. And that's literally what drives me. The fact that I could potentially see some sort of change in a certain space, especially from a technical point, from a tech space. It is still a struggle in today's day to find a coder or who actually works as a programmer within the office. I was talking in one of the interviews the other day that I am yet to meet a tech lead who's a woman, and it's very much alarming that I have not within my space found someone who actually is able to sit and be in a tech leadership level, and I can identify with that person. So for me, it's more okay, so what is going to happen? Does this mean we are not capable? Are we incapable of actually being in the spaces? And that is the reason why I sometimes do what I do, because I want young people to sort of identify with me and see that they can do it, which is why the mentorship level really is important for me, and I have to be really intentional in making time. By the way, Adela, I talk a lot, so if
we are a good match. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I recognize what you're saying.
I really talk a lot. You have to stop me when I have to stop.
Oh, good. I think our community will love it. So it's kind of energy, and as you said, I love what you said. It's about intentionally putting your time, so your priorities into what you feel. You're serving the community. You're on a mission, and you feel that every day, I said these mini steps, as you said, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So every day you're basically helping another person we are creating, this ball is rolling. So basically we are helping one another, and then you just see this cumulative effect at the end of the year, wow, and that's what I would love to see more and more of us realizing that, yes, we have challenges wherever you look. So there are so many challenges if around us in different aspects. And it sometimes gets overwhelming for me as well. Oh my God, it's too slow. Everything is too slow. I cannot, save some, or I cannot support so many people and so on. But the point for me, the way I realized, okay, how do I go around it is basically, these mini steps every day, so that it doesn't get overwhelming. And, it's just like this little step that the other person will see, I can help. And I can support one another. Because if you and I we could spend, all day, night, and the whole life. And, I don't want to overburn, myself. It's about, coming from, joy and pleasure that I do this. And then, believing that this other person is going to, carry this passion, and the next person that he helps, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Beautiful.
I think it's really important to actually like have the why of what you're doing very, very clear, because then when it gets really tough in getting time, you know that you actually really care about what you're doing. It's just that maybe sometimes time is not available,
Yes.
and you are still one human being. So you
Yes.
definitely will be in a position to come back and then like continue with your why.
Yes, yes, it's just recognizing, okay, am I tired or
Yeah,
demotivated? It's like we all get tired, and then I just take, take a day off from everything that I'm doing, and then, go and explore some other, hobbies and things that I love to do, and then come back, recharge. So that's good to recognize. But since we are talking about Austria, so I would love to know how you came to Austria. So how did you decide to go to Austria and find this
yeah.
little beautiful place?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, the story of my transitioning and moving to Austria, I think it's always different every time when I explain it, because like there's actually no it's like there's no philosophy around it, or like the craziest or whatever. So I honestly like always tell that I generally am like a very risk, and as soon as something really makes sense in my head, without having to like really intensely think about it, I just generally take those or make those decisions. So when I met Chris, who's a recruiter, and he was like, "Hey, there's an opportunity in Austria, would you be willing to relocate and everything?" I was like, yeah, sure. Let's actually like check it out and everything. So the process of like really communicating with him was like during a longer period. And I think last year, we then started off with interviews with like my current company that I've mentioned
Mhm.
earlier on. And when we started with the interviews, it was like really like such a seamless experience where I
Mhm.
got excited. I think having to speak to the managing director, from the beginning, and how he explained the company, or rather like my current company, I felt like it's a space that I would want to work. I got like he really like placed the culture in front of me in a manner that made sense to me, that
Mhm.
I would want to. It sounds like a culture that I would want to be part of. And because of that, then I was like, okay, this is it for me. We moved with the interviews until the last one.
Mhm.
Then I got the offers, and was really it was really such a seamless experience from interviews and offers and everything. The moving and getting work permit is a different story altogether, but like yeah, it was one of those, the decision was just really like going with the flow.
And may I ask you, how did the recruiter find you? Was it through LinkedIn or some other community that you're part of it?
So he has a friend that he had known from South Africa, and
Mm.
this friend happened to be someone I come from the same space with.
Okay.
And because he was looking for developers, he mentioned to this friend, and then my name popped up in the communication. He then reached out to me, and in him reaching out to me, then we started having those conversations, and that's how we basically met. So it was not necessarily like on a LinkedIn point of view. It was, I think, I don't know if I could call it word of mouth, basically.
Yeah, so through the network. So
Yeah, through the network.
we
Yeah,
come back to again to who knows who, and as you
yeah,
said, good news and a recommendation. So they travel very fast. So
that's
it's
that's true.
how
That's
do
true.
you, so after a couple of months being months, or let's say half a year being here in Austria, so how do you feel? So how about the community, how about the network? So what do you see, if you maybe you found something that you want to start next year, building the communities, or what's on your
Um,
mind?
I mean, I think at this point I'm generally just really excited to to be integrated into the spaces. I wouldn't necessarily be talking much about starting anything by myself. I don't know, next year is a long time. But like, maybe I could be inspired to actually like then start something. But right now, one thing that I know for sure is that I'm looking forward to really integrating with the communities that I already know, and looking forward to the ones that you are going to share as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more like I have joined one of the talks that you were on the other day with the new IT girls.
Yes.
I am also part of like the I think IBM, I don't know, there's like a network platform online. So I've got sort of like, am part of like few network platforms, rather networking platforms within the meetup.com. And I'm just really looking forward to meeting up, and hopefully we can also do like physical meetups next year. Crossing fingers that COVID would be clearing up soon, because so in the coming year, I'm just really looking forward to integrating within the communities and see how and what we can do with what we have. I definitely would be interacting and also contributing if there's a need for me to, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm going to like right away start something of my own, because I would need to identify what that is. And also I'm still like very active within my space in South Africa. So you sort of also have to think about time, and because I wouldn't necessarily want to start something and then like drop it because I'm not able to like give my 100%.
How's your German? So that's usually the. Is it easy? Is it an easy language, or is it a hard language, or so? How is your?
To be very honest with you, I haven't really like invested much time in learning. And I think for me, because it was like really like the early stages of my move, I sort of like really focused much on wanting to like grab as much as I can from like a work point of view. So like the kind of work that I do is pretty much new from what I've always done. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. I need to like really make sure that I am in a better space to really understand what I'm here to do and like do it so well. So that's what I've been focused on. Definitely in the coming few months, I'm just gonna be picking up and learning German. At this point, it's hopeless.
But it helps. So
looking forward to learning. I do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like it would be much easier for me. I mean, when I actually know a bit of German, because like it's integration at the end of the day, right? And I think that's very important. So I am looking forward to like learning a bit of German and understanding, or rather like move around and understand the basic things. Right now, I don't have any basic knowledge.
But it's what helped me basically back in the day. It was at work. I practice as much as possible. So if you have people around you, I was using this opportunity as much as possible. And then of course the classes later on and what you do, but the practice makes it is basically the game changer. So if you have colleagues, so that's the perfect opportunity to have people around you in the office. It's always good, to practice with them and just talk in German. And I asked them, can you correct me, or what's that word, and so on. It as you said, go with the flow. Basically, it will come. So I didn't put much pressure on it. It was just out of curiosity. What's this word and that word and so on. So. It's a journey.
Looking forward to that.
Next year we can do it. Next year we do it in German, or at least a couple of words in German. Lani, what would you say to people who are considering to move to Austria? So how can they prepare in a best way? So no matter where they're coming from, basically, how to prepare.
So I think this is actually a generic one, right? I wouldn't necessarily. So one thing that I always say to people is, mostly the open-mindedness, because that is like really, I think, the beginning. Being open-minded to knowing that I am going to be moving into any space that is very different from, or maybe very similar to what I'm already exposed to. So one thing that is good that I can do to myself is not necessarily expect anything, but like really gel in with the culture. Because when you have decided, or when you have said and decided that I am going to go into a new space, then you're sort of letting go of everything that is so familiar to you. And I think that's a very important one. So I think prepare to really be open-minded. I found Vienna and Austria to be like such an amazing space, from like your like the way of living. It's great for me. So, but it's different also, because I come in as a South African. I've always done things differently in many levels. So I think the open-mindedness is a key for anyone who is moving into anywhere, like, basically, but also that like Vienna is not an exception. Keep an open mind and make sure that you are ready to learn as much, and also even learning German and learning how other people do things and how they see their world. Because I think for me, moving around and traveling, that has been a key thing, that I would want to understand how other people understand and view their world. And when you approach going into a new space from that level, then it becomes really easy, because you are not going to be questioning why someone is doing things this way, because it is their way and you are opening yourself to learning. And I think that is really has been a key for me every time when I move around. It's been quite interesting from an Austrian point of view, because I move in as someone who's sort of like really currently moving in and have to sort of get a new space that is their own and everything. I'm not like just going there for some time and then I know I'll be returning home soon. Right now, I don't really have life planned out in terms of like timelines and stuff. So it's a different ball game altogether. But like, I still do need my open-mindedness, and also like the openness to learning and really taking in the good, the bad, and everything with just an open mind of knowing that this is not home. It's definitely going to be different from what I am used to. It's just generally moving into unfamiliar, basically, and it can offer you anything.
Yes, so
but it's up to you how you take it.
That's true. That's true, and it's great to have. Vienna is a beautiful city, so it offers so much. So it's a multicultural city. So everyone, I think each one of us can find, community on its own and try new things out. So that's what I really love about Vienna. But before we wrap up, I usually ask my guests what are they reading at the moment.
Oh, okay. What I'm currently reading at the moment. So I usually have what's this? I call it a reading marathon in December. So I at least have to read like 6 books. Okay. So I currently have like a sequel like by Virginia Andrews. I'm very much a sucker for fiction. So I really, really love like fiction writers and how they actually like sort of really express themselves. So I'm currently reading My Sweet Audrina by Virginia Andrews. It's a sequel. I'm gonna jump into Fallen or something. Yeah, that's what I'm currently reading. I've just recently read Adultery by Paulo Coelho, my favorite. So yeah. I'm not reading anything that has to do with tech or whatever. I'm reading fiction books.
Beautiful.
Basically.
But I love what you said. It's like the marathon, the reading marathon in December. So I love that. I love that. You said 6 books. Okay.
Yeah. It's actually like such a beautiful experience for me every time, because like I think I can always like point out how much I have actually gained in, or rather gotten, or like influenced by some writing in in every December. Like in 2018, I actually I can't like I can't, it's hard for me to can't forget this. So I read Veronica Decides to Die, and I think, I don't know if you've read the book, but it's like really such an amazing read. And one line that I took from the book is like, we like an awareness of death encourages us to live more intensely. And I think that for me sort of like really encouraged me to actually like just like go for whatever, because like in the process of like reading that book, there's so much that I've gotten. I think the book might have been the reason why I then like shortly after reading the book, I went bungee jumping, and yeah, like it's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. So it's as you said, I love about you, it's about intention. So you're really taking it all in. So what you said, at the beginning with your time, and then with the books, you're not just reading the books, for sake of it. You're taking all in. You're taking all in, and then you make decisions around it. It's beautiful. I really love it.
Yeah.
Thank you
There's
so
a
much.
lot that comes. There's a lot that comes from the reading marathon. Trust me.
So you will be. I'm looking forward to see you next year, hopefully in person in Vienna. We're gonna have some coffee somewhere around the city.
Yes, I look forward to that.
Yeah, and then I will see what did you read from your marathon, and where the journey is going to take. So maybe another bungee jumping or skiing marathon in Austria, or who knows.
You never know. You never know.
Thank you so much, Lulani. It was a great pleasure to have you on our channel. I wish you happy holidays. Enjoy your time with the family, and we see next year latest.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this.
So
Was fun, I think.
Yes, it was. It was a great start of our weekend. So
yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and have a beautiful day as well. And enjoy the rest of your festivities as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.